Hey guys, welcome back to another New World video. In this video I'm going to be covering the things you should be doing daily to get the most amount of rewards in the shortest amount of time. Just very quick, if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing as it helps out my channel massively. This is also going to be excellent preparation from now until the raids come out in New World. So let's get straight into it. The first thing I do above all else is doing my daily crafting cooldowns, and this will take you 2 minutes max if you have all the materials ready. They're vital materials for all late game crafting, and they have a daily cooldown limit, which means you can only craft 10 of these a day. So even if you don't need them now, you'll need them later, so the sooner you start doing this the better. I pick one settlement with all tier 5 benches and store all my materials in that storage. Then I can just craft all of these each day in a very short amount of time. So even when I'm super short on time, I'll still at least do this daily. Another few reasons why I do this is that 1, I get an emerald gypsum, 2, if I need gold I can sell them for profit, and 3, this is good XP for getting aptitude crates. It's also great if you have the crafting gear set, because wearing the full set gives you an extra 10% chance of crafting more. You'll see in the background I'm equipping each set before I do the crafting, and I'm getting extra of these materials for doing this. So that's the first and most important thing for me to do each day, and I highly recommend you guys do it as well. The next thing on the agenda, which takes me anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes a day, is placing buy and sell orders on the trading post. If you guys haven't watched my trading post video, you should, because I'm just spending a few minutes a day on this, and it's a huge moneymaker. Once I put up my buy and sell orders, that's it, I can go offline, come back the next day, and I'll now have some materials which I bought through my buy orders for super cheap, and I'll also have more gold than yesterday because I'm making profits through the sell orders which I placed. So if I'm low on materials, for example cinnabar which is needed to craft Asmodium, I'll place buy orders on this so I can have all the materials ready for crafting the next day. Also, ingots are some of my favourite materials to make profits from on the trading post, as there's usually a big gap on my server between the buy and sell orders. This means I can list any I get straight away and make profits. The other favourite items of mine to place buy orders on for profit is coarse leather and sateen, so this is just a quick tip for all you traders out there. Obviously you can spend as much time doing this as you like, but because we're doing a dailies video, you can pick your favourite money making items and get your orders set up in just a few minutes. I also like to glance at the prices of the materials too, just to judge the state of the economy. For example, if there's one item which I've been placing buy orders on which has now risen in price, I'll choose to sell that. Likewise, if there's a material which I think is super cheap today, I'll prioritise placing buy orders on that. But again, if you want some advice for money making, then check out my trading post video. So that's it for the first two things, and I make sure that I do these every day so they're both included in both of my options which I'm about to provide you with. So the first option and the last thing I do to complete my dailies, and I know this will attract criticism so I'll explain my reasoning for this too, and that's doing the daily faction missions and combining this with a mutated expedition. Now if you think this not possible for you, or maybe your server isn't very active, then I've listed another option. But for me this is the most efficient by far, so let me explain. The first 3 faction missions you do each day give a bonus amount of rewards. This is important because it will give you enough faction tokens to buy 2 gypsum orbs from a vendor daily. It is possible to get 3 faction missions for the same expedition, but if you only have 2 and can't really afford to wait for the vendor's missions to refresh, then just go ahead and do it with 2. Because 2 is enough to get you the 2 daily gypsum orbs. I think the quickest expeditions are Genesis, Lazarus and Dynasty, and I always do this when it's Genesis on the rotation because that expedition can be done super fast even on M10. I would avoid the longer expeditions like Tempest because they're too long and can be difficult. So if it's Depths and Tempest for that weekly rotation, then I wouldn't do this method. But maybe you've been able to do this fast and easy in about 30 minutes, so if that's the case and you have 40 minutes to complete your dailies, then it could be an option still. I've gotten gold on a very quick Genesis M10 run with a group finder team in 20 minutes, and I've provided a link to the description of this video. You also get a sapphire gypsum from completing the expedition, but there's not really any point using a topaz potion because you likely won't be able to kill enough mobs to get all 10 of them. So combining this with what I've said so far, I've now gotten all crafted cooldowns completed, 6,000 emerald shards for gold M10, you also got the M10 loot rewards, and I'm making a ton of passive income from my trading post. And all of this in under 30 minutes. This also gives you 5 gypsum orbs, 1 sapphire for completing the expedition, 1 emerald for the cooldowns, 1 diamond gypsum from the coin purses, and 2 from the faction vendor. There's usually an event which gives diamond gypsum orbs, and it's usually quick to get. At the time of this video's release there isn't an event active, so they drop from coin purses at the moment, which you can get from killing enemies. But the way to get them does change often, so it will depend on what events are happening in the game at the time that you're watching this video. But in my experience they're all very quick and take a few minutes. And this, in my opinion, is the best way to spend 30 minutes in New World. Now obviously it's not always guaranteed to find a group straight away, and getting gold with a team isn't guaranteed either. So let's say you get bronze in a 30-minute run and it takes you 10 minutes to find a team and get the faction missions. Bronze M10 still gives you 4,000 emerald shards, which is a lot, and you still get all the other same rewards, all in under 50 minutes. And this 50 minutes is a conservative estimate. Bearing in mind in my video it was very much a botched run, you can probably get this whole cycle down to 20 minutes assuming you can find a good team. In very unlikely scenarios you may not be able to complete the expedition, but it will still be worth trying because the rewards are unparalleled. So that's why I've said this is my best daily routine. It's possible to get all of these done in 20 minutes if Genesis is a weekly mutated dungeon and your team clears it super quick. But 30 minutes is a more realistic outcome, and 40 is if you're unlucky. A couple of things you can do to speed this up is by searching for a mutated group at the time at which you're doing your cooldowns. That way you're bound to find a team quicker, and if your team does better than my team did in the expedition, then that also speeds it up. But if this isn't for you, then don't worry, because I've got an alternative which is the next best thing. And you can also follow some of these after you've done the expedition if you have extra time and really want to be efficient. The alternative is to drink a topaz potion and head over to this place in Ebonscale Reach called the Sky Song Crypt. Here you can farm the 3 mini bosses which spawn here to get your obsidian gypsum, and also kill the adds while you're waiting for the bosses to respawn to get your topaz gypsum. The bosses respawn every few minutes, and if you're killing adds in between the bosses, you'll get your topaz and obsidian gypsum fairly quick. Remember to stop once you've gotten 3 obsidian gypsum and 10 topaz gypsum, because that's the maximum amount you can get each day. This will take you about 7 or 8 minutes solo, and even faster with other people there. Also, if you're aiming for 30 minutes, then you'll still have time to quickly grab and complete 3 faction missions. It's here where I'd recommend doing 3 PvP missions because they give more faction tokens than regular missions, unless of course they are expedition missions. So one good spot for this is in Eden Grove. I managed to complete all 3 missions here in Eden Grove in under 15 minutes. There may be 3 faster PvP missions out there which you can do, in which case even better, but of course you have to take into account other PvP players. I've heard Reekwater PvP quests are good too, as well as the Shattered Mountain PvP quests, so feel free to try these out too. So that's the end of my daily routine, and that's about 30 minutes, but let's say you have 1 hour to spare on your dailies, then here's another few options for you which you can consider doing to get more gypsum. You can do a 3v3 arena to get the garnet gypsum. There is a 100% chance to get the garnet gypsum if you win, and 50% chance if you lose. But the matches are fairly quick, and you can see in my sped up footage that I managed to complete a match in about 5 minutes. And believe me, I don't particularly enjoy doing these 3v3 arenas, nor am I very good at PvP, but it's still worth it just to get the gypsum. Another thing you can do is one of these PvE arenas I've listed on screen to get a citrine gypsum. These do depend on you being able to find a good team quickly, but they can take you less than 5 minutes and is guaranteed to drop a citrine gypsum. So to summarise, there's 2 main ways of doing these dailies. The first gives you a lot of rewards for 30 minutes of gameplay, and the second way gives you similar amount of rewards, but of course it gives you more gypsum, and it's a very good solo option. You can obviously mix and match some of these things depending on your preferences. Maybe you enjoy PvP so you want to do the 3v3 arena and PvP missions, or you don't fancy yourself as a trader so you can skip this step. You can also follow method 1, and then if you have a bit of extra time after, you can do the topaz and obsidian gypsum farm. Now obviously on this page it does show that the crafting rewards are a bit inflated here because it's not as simple as getting 10 of them for free every day. You'll need to use your own ingredients which cost gold or time to farm, but there are a lot of rewards for this which I covered earlier. And that's it for this video guys. If you enjoyed it or it helped you out in any way, please leave a like and subscribe, and thank you all so much for watching, and take care.